Hey, and okay. It says it is, but I don't believe it. Okay, I am live. All right. I was trying to figure that out. All right.
Okay, I am live. All right. I was trying to figure that out. All right.
I cannot wait for this team, man. I cannot wait for this season to start. There's just so much.
I cannot wait for this team.
So much to look forward to.
There's just so much. I cannot wait for this team. So much to look forward to.
One final preseason game. Golly, I gotta solve this audio issue. Okay. Nope. Still an issue. What in the world? Technical difficulties. Oh, okay. I see. The tone. That's the issue. Let's see if that fixes the issue. Let us see. Nope. What in the F? Doesn't make any sense. Okay. Okay. Test.
Test.
What in the world is going on with this thing? It's like duplicating. Logitech. My mic. It should not be doing this. What in the world is going on? Okay, so I know you say you can hear me, but I have an audible delay or an audible it sounds like it's repeating. Are you guys getting that? Is there am I repeating? Like when I say a word, do I sound like a robot or do I sound very repetitive? Because that's how it sounds to me. And it could be just because I have it pulled up live just so I can hear myself. But I would love to know, like, can you actually hear me? Okay. All right. So I'm just tripping then. All right. It's just me having it's just me being an idiot. It's me being a fucking idiot. All right. Okay. I'm not sure why we keep lagging here a little bit. It could just be the actual it could just be the live stream itself. But I am damn glad to finally start to do one of these. I see everybody else is doing it. Why not me? Right? Why shouldn't I do it? As Chicago's off to a fucking 10-2 run. That's just ridiculous. They got some Chicago, they have struggled to actually tear things down. They can't it does not appear like they want to one specific direction or another, but they do have some talent over there. I'm so happy that Lonzo Ball is back, by the way. I don't care what team you root for, Lonzo being back is good for basketball. Like this dude entered the NBA with so much dislike just simply because of his father, right? LeVar, say what you will about him, but at the end of the day, he excellently marketed himself. He excellently marketed his children, and I know Lonzo is just clearly talented in his own right, but dude pushed his sons, all three of his sons, to try and reach the highest level, and at least two of them have done that, right? In LaMelo and in Lonzo. Lonzo just got robbed, man. Dude basically got robbed of back-to-back seasons because of that injury, and I think it all points back to the shoes. But at the end of the day, the dude clearly is still talented. This game was never predicated off of athleticism. He is a high level facilitator, an underrated defender, and that 3-point shot was really starting to go to come around, right? In his final season in New Orleans, and then when he got moved to Chicago, he was a real impact performer over there. So I was really, really happy to hear that he would be continuing his career this season. Yeah. Which game? Yes, I am watching the game. I'm definitely watching the game. You can connect, I believe, on playback. You can actually connect your league pass to the playback app so that you can watch it alongside me. But I think that's how it works. Now, if you're referring to the Guardians game, yes, I also have that off in the background as well. After last night's game, how could I not? That was just such a phenomenal finish, man. Just That is postseason baseball to a T at its finest. It's lovely. And I'm so happy for Guardians fans to experience that. I'm not a Guardians fan, by the way. I'm from Dayton, Ohio. I was born and raised in Dayton, Ohio, and that is much, much closer to Cincinnati. And so I'm a Reds fan simply because of that. But I sympathize with anybody playing the Yankees. I just cannot stand the Yankees. So I'm really hoping for a victory there. Okay. I see you. See, Patrick Williams entering this season is an intriguing spot because of that contract he just received. I am very curious to see how he plays after now getting that. In that same draft class with Isaac Okoro, right? The 2020 that was much maligned because there was just no real way to evaluate talent there, no real way to scout. It was just such an oddity of a draft. And so I remember when Patrick Williams was taken, there were some people out there that legitimately wanted Cleveland to look his way. And that draft, I mean, it was just such a toss up that you really just could have made a case for a number of guys there. HEA Hey says, "Are you concerned with the 0-3 start? I know it's preseason, but the conversation must be had considering the teams we've played thus far." Nah, I mean, I think what Kenny has wanted to see, because you're seeing this right now, right? The starting lineup, and be it by necessity because Max Strus and Sam Merrill, they sustained some injuries. Hopefully, they're ready for the start of the regular season and everything. All reports indicate that they will be. But you see some of the lineup tinkering and some of the oddities in terms of the rotations that Kenny Atkinson is throwing out there, right? And Dean Wade entering the starting lineup, not as a power forward, but as a small forward, a place that he is obviously comfortable in, and we have seen him play before, but it's not something that is likely to be the case outside of an injury replacement territory, right? But no, I am not concerned. There are specific things that I was wanting to see this preseason, namely the 3-point production, right? We heard so much about the emphasis of the three ball with Kenny Atkinson led teams, right? In Brooklyn, always finishing in the top five for 3-point attempts. The other thing that I was really looking forward to seeing was the pace. And so far, prior to tonight's game, the Cavaliers were ranked third through these three preseason games. They had the third highest pace in the NBA at 107. And that just tells you how many possessions that they're generating, whether that be via the rebounds, right? And that's another key point that we have seen so far in preseason. They look like they are a much better rebounding team. And I know that you're not seeing gaudy numbers out of the likes of Jarrett Allen and Evan Mobley, but they're clearly rebounding the basketball a hell of a lot better than they were, in years prior. So that is something that I have loved to see. And Dean Wade, man. Dean Wade, we've heard a lot this offseason about the confidence level of Dean Wade. A confident Dean Wade can be a very, very impactful Dean Wade. And I think we all believe that. We have seen how impactful this motherfucker is when he is out there, when he is healthy, and when he is confident. The organization believes in Dean Wade, but does Dean Wade believe in Dean Wade? I think that these are the questions that we have to ask ourselves, right? When you're evaluating just what kind of lineups we're going to be using, the players that we're going to see. Is Dean Wade the guy that's actually going to be able to provide real impact in the minutes that he has given? Because as one of the only front court players on the roster that can actually space the floor, I think you have to be able, you have to be able to be consistent, right? You have to be confident out there, because what we require of Dean Wade is to space the floor and provide defense, areas that you can get out of other players on the roster, but not necessarily in combination. Dean Wade is not necessarily a volume shooter by any measure, but he is a reliable floor spacer when he is locked in. And on the defensive side of the ball, he grades as one of the higher perimeter defenders. There's all kinds of metrics out there, namely, I think was it the LeBron, right? The LeBron stat in terms of defending wings out there. D LeBron, I think. it's very, very high grade that Dean Wade has received in that regard. And the only problem that we have really ever had with him is health. If the man can stay healthy, then he's okay. He's all right. He will be an impact performer. And with the likes of George Niang not necessarily being a great rebounder or a defender, that is no slight against Niang either. With Niang not being either of those things, I think you kind of have to expect that Dean Wade is going to be playing a hefty amount of minutes this year if he is healthy. Now, the one thing that should help is the fact that Kenny Atkinson wants to go deep into his rotation, something that JB Bickerstaff almost exclusively never did. But with Kenny, if you're playing more guys, then you're taking minutes away from certain players, and you're a result of that is keeping guys healthier, keeping guys fresher, something that I think this team can benefit from in a major way because we just can't go a full season without some big time injury to one of our quality rotation players, um, whether that be Jarrett Allen, not being able to finish out the playoff run after looking great in 4 playoff games against the Orlando Magic, or whether that be Dean Wade himself not necessarily being somebody that you can trust to stay healthy for the duration of a season. Because Dean, this dude, man, it just pisses me off to no end. It's not to shit on him or anything, because I'm a huge Dean Wade fan, but this dude routinely misses anywhere from 25 to 30 games this season. His career high in games played, just to clue you in if you haven't looked at this in a while, is 63 games. Never played more than 63 games. And that came back during the 2020-2021 season, right? Where COVID was still a huge impact, was still having a huge impact on the NBA. And so since then, he's played 51 games, 44 games, 54 games. And you guys might wonder why I'm spending so much time harping on Dean Wade. Well, it's simply because this is a dude who we know how fucking impactful he can be when he's actually out there and healthy and confident. And so if he can just stay upright and he can be confident in himself and in his abilities to knock down shots out there, I think he'll be a very important player this year. And you can't tell me anything else, right? You could not sway me any other way off of that. Look at that. Look at that defense right there. Evan Mobley, man. There we go. Move that ball. Man, I don't know if this stream is just lagging for me. Donovan wearing a headband the other day kind of threw me for a loop. I don't know about you guys. $45. Now that's a guy right there. You never have to worry about being confident in himself. Hey, there go Lonzo. Lonzo with the new what is it? The new meniscus. What was it that he said he got? It was a new knee cartilage, new meniscus or something. I don't know. I don't know. I'm just genuinely happy to see that this dude is healthy. I'm genuinely happy to see that Lonzo Ball is back. And look at that. First game back, 10 points, 4 or 6 from the field, 2 of 4 from 3-point range. Still got that ugly ass shot, but he's still impactful. Still impactful. You love to see it. That looked like a foul to me. Okay. It's a nice pass, though. Okay. Come on, Sam. You got to knock that shit down. Let's go. Come on, man. Let's go. You know when Sam is out there, that is the number one thing they're looking for him to do. They are just getting him the ball so that they can so that he can put that shot up. You just know that is going to happen every single time that he touches the ball. It's crazy. One of the best shooters in the NBA last season. One of the I mean, shit, seriously, up there with Steph Curry in terms of triples made or triples attempted per 36 minutes. At the Cavaliers, I had the Cavaliers. Jesus, I had the stats pulled up here. Hey, I'm gonna try and see if I can pull them back up. But Merrill, man, this dude, he was phenomenal. He was phenomenal as a shot maker last year. Where are we at? Where are we at? Here we go. Okay. Finished with 143 triples last year. That was the 23rd most in Cavs single season history. And his 2.34 triples made per game are actually the 10th best mark in franchise history as well. And he was doing that, mind you, in just 17 and a half minutes per game. And they only credit him, NBA.com, kind of shitty for this, but they only credit him because he did start one game last year. They give him credit for 141 triples off the bench. That actually happened to be the seventh most league wide for reserves, which is a pretty high number to me. So that's pretty cool. That was a hell of a pass too to Dean. That was something. See, that's exactly the type of shit that we need from Dean. Just be confident. Take the shot. Just take the shot. That's what we're wanting to see out of him. Jalen Smith. Whew. What are y'all expecting out of Darius Garland this year? Because I'm still a huge believer in this dude. As he goes off the screen, Sam Merrill. That was a beautiful action right there. Okay. And that's another thing right there. Karras, man, he had a precipitous drop off in terms of his 3-point percentage last year. This dude went from being literally one of the Cavaliers' best shooters last year. Seriously, one of the best shooters, not last year, the year before last, 2022-23. Karras LeVert actually shot 39.2% from 3-point distance. This dude dropped off to 32.5% last year for Cleveland. It was just such an ugly fall off. Oh, let's go, Jarrett. I'm on. There we go. Oh, that was beautiful. And you got George with the Euro. Come on, George. Is it me or does George actually look noticeably slimmer this year? I mean, he's still not quite in like peak human condition in terms of some of these NBA level athletes out here, but he definitely looks a little slimmer out there. And I think that could definitely help because we already know George is not the quickest of foot, and he's certainly at a size disadvantage for the position that he plays. But that volume shooting that he does bring, and the uncanny ability to drive to the basket, something that we just I can't explain it. The shit was ugly as hell, right? It was ugly as hell, but it was still effective whenever he did it, whenever he drove inside. I'm gonna have to pull that stat because he was way, way too effective with that shot, and you wouldn't think he would be. Jeez, man. Zealous. You see how easy that is? I mean, you look how quickly the Zach Levine just got by George, and that is the trade-off. That's the scary thing in regards to playing George Niang in these lineups as your four, because in this specific lineup, he is functioning as the four with Evan Mobley as your center, right? And so having him out there matched up or in a mismatch, should I say, against Zach Levine, that is not an enviable position. I'm out. As I go here and check on this Guardians game score, I see down 2-1. Got to pick it up. And mine, I say, like just watching these Guardians games these last couple of weeks, the thing that has immediately stuck out to me, especially in these last couple against New York, is they are getting dudes in position. Like they are getting runners in scoring position, but they are failing. They're absolutely failing. Not last night, because last night was beautiful, but prior to that, they were failing to score with runners in scoring position. They would continuously load the bases up or get guys on second and third, but they just could not bring them home. So watching David Fry and company do that last night, that was pretty damn cool. But hopefully they're able to replicate that performance tonight. And hopefully it doesn't take a walk off, but you guys get the gist of what I'm saying. Hopefully when they do get guys in scoring position, they're actually able to bring them home. G Red. Woo. Four-point Cleveland advantage. I cannot help but feel that I'm on a delay here. Seriously, I feel like my stream is behind. Okay, Lonzo. Woo. Sam Merrill. God damn. This dude, that is literally that's something that you can expect from him, right? Like I said, second that the ball touches his hands, he's gonna let it fly. You never have to worry about Sam Merrill being confident because he's gonna put that shot up. Just awesome. Ayo. All right. Usubu. Okay. All right. Just driving in there, trying to attack, man. Ayo. Karras, what you got, man? What you got? Okay, screen, getting the ball at the Karras. Okay, George. I hope you can carry that into the regular season though. That's what I'm wanting to see. You gotta carry it over into the regular season. I'm telling y'all, this he does look legitimately slimmer out there. I think that he has lost some weight. Never going to be the quickest to fit out there. Never probably going to be an impact defender. But the one area that I really want to see from George Niang this year is improvement as a rebounder. If he can improve as a rebounder, I definitely think that there is a real reason to give him playoff minutes. As of right now, I'm not quite sure what JB. I'm not quite sure what Kenny Atkinson's rotation is going to be come the start of the regular season next week. I'm honestly not sure at all what he is going to elect to do. Like I assume, and that's all I can really do. And this is what I was talking to Mikey McNuggets about on that last pod. I assume that we can pencil in Karis LeVert, Dean Wade. I would say Isaac Okoro. I know a lot of people wouldn't, but I think Isaac Okoro is a lot to play. It's debatable, right? But those three right there, I think, are definitely in if I was splitting a rotation. I continue to be a big believer in Ty Jerome. I do believe that Ty Jerome is going to bring stability to the second unit. And I loved Craig Porter Jr. I am very, very grateful that we were able to get production out of an undrafted talent, undrafted gem last year. But without a consistent three-point shot, right? Without something that you can rely upon, I have to believe that Kenny Atkinson is going to want to get the guy out there who not only a little bit taller at 6'5", 6'6", but can actually shoot that three ball. Somebody who he has worked with in the past, and with Golden State. I think that there is a legitimate argument that you can make that Ty Jerome, at least initially, right, at least to begin the season, I think there's a realistic argument that you can make that Craig Porter Jr. belongs on the bench and that Ty Jerome should probably earn the backup point guard minutes over. And take this with a grain of salt, right? Because one thing that we do know is that the backup point guard position, it can be a fickle thing because Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell are both going to be sharing the floor with one another at times, and they are going to take turns operating as the lead guard out there. Like we saw last season with Donovan Mitchell running the show, him being point. That is something that I think we want to see more of. We do want to see Donovan with the ball in his hands as the lead guard more, but with a healthy Darius Garland, I don't know how often that will be the case. Certainly not as much as it was last year, but it will still happen. And that's why I think like the backup point guard minutes, they might be sporadic from game to game. And it's not as if I feel that they're not going to happen, right? It's not as if I feel that there are no minutes to go around in that regard, but it's going to be up and down from game to game, if that makes any sense, right? We'll see. We'll have to see. Chen says Evan isn't touching the ball. Again, I'm not putting a ton of stock into what we're seeing during this preseason from like a touches standpoint because these guys they're not going to give away everything that they would be doing in a regular season set. Some of the stuff is bland, some of the stuff is vanilla, but there are little bits and pieces that we can take away, right? Like some of the half court sets that have been run through these 4 games, you can take away stuff. Watching Evan Mobley work in the half court and then dish it out to Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland out in the perimeter while he's driving, that's something that I think will stick, right? If the plan is to get Evan Mobley more touches, if you get him going downhill, you get more off-ball opportunities for Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell. And the more that he is able to capitalize on whatever gravity that he generates by getting the ball out to them, the more that it's going to help this team in the long run. Because that is what the next step in development for him could possibly look like. It may not be an immediate leap in terms of, 3-point attempts, because frankly, I just don't see that happening. I think it'll be gradual, right? I do believe that this is the season where we get 3 to 4 attempts a game from deep from him, but I don't think it's going to be immediate. And so one of the things that I am expecting right off the bat is for Evan Mobley to be given the ball more in the half court and allowing him to create offense in a sense for others, namely Donovan and Darius, and getting them off ball more, like he is doing right now on this possession, moving the ball out to Sam Merrill, who just drills the triple. Beautiful, right? That is exactly what you want to see. And while Evan does not have the gravity, of some of the other star bigs in the league from deep, one of the things that I think you can say about him is that he doesn't require a lot to get to his spots once he does get in the half court because he's just so damn big. He's so damn long that he can legitimately just shoot over dudes, right? 1 to 2 steps if you do that. Look at that. And this is another thing, like him generating more contact. If you're putting the ball in his hands more, you're allowing him to bring the ball up the court and he's just going to work inside. He's driving the basketball. He will draw contact. And I do believe that he has put on a little bit of weight. We're not given official numbers. In years prior, Evan might, give us a little bit of an insight on how much muscle he's added. He didn't do that this year. And I think that's probably for the best, just because we do have people out here that watch the scales. But I do legitimately believe that he's put on some muscle. It's been a process, but it is finally starting to happen. I mean, I'm sure you guys remember what Giannis looked like when he first came into the league, as wiry as fuck. Like this dude was just so damn wiry out there. But he added somewhere around like, was it 50, nearly 50 pounds of muscle, I think. I could be incorrect on that, but I know he added a lot of muscle to get to where he is right now, and it was a long process. It was a long journey for him. So just in that element, we have to be patient with Mobley. Look at that, man. Right? Okay, we got a little bit of rim running. Didn't result in anything. Got to capitalize. This is an odd lineup. All right. All right. I see it. Zealous. All right. That is a player right there, Jalen Smith. That is a dude that I was hoping the Cavaliers would have been able to bring in because I at the time, right? This is pre JT Thor, who have become a fan of a little bit more since he's been signed. But Jalen Smith entering free agency was an intriguing prospect, not only for his rim deterrence, but for his ability to knock down the 3-point shot or at least attempt it. Naval officer. His father was a naval officer. Okay, that's pretty dope. Those are some really descriptive rules to follow, probably for the best. Indeed. All right. One of the things that we have seen this preseason, if you guys have been paying attention to it, is oh shit, that could have been bad. Is they're getting into their offensive sets a lot quicker. I don't maybe it's just me, but during the JB Bickerstaff era, one of the biggest complaints that I had, and this is coming from an avid JB defender, they got into their offense way too late. Like, they would literally wait until there was around 8, 9 seconds left on the shot clock to start initiating some type of offensive set. There was literally way too many instances of the team just kinda winging it. No set plays. Tyson, that's a player that we wanted to see more of, right? Love it. Jalen, he's gonna be in the rotation sooner rather than later. And we've heard that from a number of people already. I know Mark Madsen, somebody had mentioned that I think it was Kenny Atkinson, right? During training camp. He mentioned that Mark Madsen, at the time of Jaylon Tyson being drafted, he actually told him that Jalen would be in the rotation before too long. And I think we have started to see so many of these things from him that it's going to be very, very hard to to unseat or to keep him seated, right? He plays at a position that I feel that is kind of crowded right now with Karras and Isaac and Max, and you can probably throw Sam in there too because Sam will give you some minutes at the three, and it may not be a large percentage, but Sam can play the three in specific lineups. And with knowing Kenny Atkinson and some of the small balls that he likes to deploy, I would not be surprised to see Sam Merrill playing more small ball three than anything. Actually, little known fact, Sam actually played 59% of his minutes last season at small forward, and that's no small sample size. Out of his 961 total minutes last year, 59% of those came at the three, 38% came at the two. And crazy enough, 2%. What? Sam Merrill actually played 2% of his minutes at power forward last year. I would have not have guessed that. I would not have guessed that. What's up, Mr. Red Pants? What's up, man? Yeah, tough time slot. I debated whether or not I was going to actually do this because they're on, this game is on. And it's only preseason action, but they're on against they're on against the backdrop of the Guardians Yankees game. That it sucks, but it is what it is. It's fine. I'm doing this because I want to talk with people, and I want to watch this last Cavs game right before we get into the regular season. I may not stay on for the full game. I'll do what I can, but I do kind of want to pivot my attention to the Guardians game a little bit later. So I might get off at halftime, but we'll see. We'll see. Because there's I mean, there's only so much. There's only so much you can take away from preseason. You have to take everything with a grain of salt right now. It's never one of those things where you can look and say, "Oh, Cavaliers, they finished ranked third in the top 3 in pace." You can't say that with any definitiveness and just think that is immediately going to occur during the first regular season game against Toronto. We want it to. We want them to play with more pace, and we want them to get those 3-point attempts up, and we want them to actually handle themselves a little bit more composure and actually know what they're doing. And I think that will occur, right? But there's only so much that you can glean from preseason basketball. I have liked some of the things though. Evan Mobley, bring the ball up the court a little bit more, initiating sets. I have liked the fact that Dean Wade looks as confident as ever to take that 3-point shot. I am enjoying the fact that Darius Garland has gone out of his way to play the passing lanes. I think he finished with 6 steals last game, and while I don't think that's going to be the new norm, I do definitely see a lot more effort in that regard from him. That's coming from a dude who he just kind of said he lost his. I think the word that he used was joy. I think he said he lost his joy for playing basketball last year with everything that he was enduring, whether that be the loss of his grandmother, the fracture or the broken jaw, rather, the weight loss. That's a lot. These things add up. And I think what a lot of people forget is that, like, these are still human beings, right? They have emotions. They're not robots. God damn, look at that pass from Don. And that is one thing right there. That is one thing right there, from Evan taking that 3-point shot. We don't want him to be timid. If the defense is giving you the space, just take the shot. Tyson. Oof. All right. Kobe White, he's got a little bit of a bag, right? He's got a bag to him. Definitely something. Let's go. On. Okay. Well, fuck you then. All right, Kobe, I see you. Uh, All right. Oh, okay. All right. Okay. I ain't got to go off. Blocking foul. And this is another interesting thing too, right? This is why we want to believe that Evan Mobley has actually put on a little bit more muscle because I'm just being honest. I'm not sure in years past that Evan Mobley would have absorbed that contact or would have been able to taken that so easily because he might have run into Jalen Smith and Jalen Smith might have knocked him down in years past. As I'm sitting here eating what some of you people out there believe to be the worst seasonal snack in existence in candy corn. I don't care what people say. Candy corn is it is a legitimate It is a top tier snack in the fall. I love candy corn. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. I love candy corn. Candy corn and Sam Adams, a deadly combination. And no, that is not a paid endorsement. Although I do have an uncle that works at a brewery for Sam Adams in Cincinnati. Free beer. But yes, candy corn and Sam Adams. Top tier combo on a Friday night as you're watching your favorite team. Come on, Cleveland. 3-1. Top of the third. This game keeps going like this. I'm gonna have to switch it over. See if they can pull through with some late game magic. Look at this dude. Chin says Evan free throws this preseason have been concerning. I think that we want to monitor it, right? Because free throws often tell you a lot about touch and whether or not a guy is going to be a reliable shooter. Evan Mobley is a career 68.1% shooter from free throw range or from the charity stripe. But he is, in a sense, taking a step forward every single season. So I think you have to kind of take it with a grain of salt, right? He entered the league as a 63.3% or 66.3% shooter from the line. His sophomore year, he shot 67.4%. And then this past season, year 3, shot 71.9%. So it's gone up, right? There's a pattern of ascension here. He has elevated that in every single year. And the volume at just 3.7 free throw attempts per game, that is not a lot. It leaves a little bit to be desired, but he has done more with less in specific seasons, right? He went from 3.7 his first year to 3.8 his second season, and he did drop down to 3.4 attempts from the charity stripe in the year 3, but he did increase his efficiency. So I got to give him that. So I'm not truly concerned. I think it'll work itself out. Clearly, he's not like a knockdown free throw shooter, but I believe that he'll snap out of it. It'll knock down. And look at that. I don't honestly, as Dean is taking these shots, as you just saw, I'm not truly concerned that he is not knocking all of them down. I just want to simply see him take them. And that's the case for a lot of players on the roster for me. Like Isaac Okoro, Dean Wade, you could throw Evan Mobley in there. I want all of these guys just to take the shot. You got to take them to make them. That is basketball 101, right? That's the only way to get better. Live game reps too, right? You can take 1,000 triples, 1,000 free throws in practice, in 5-on-5s, but you got to do it in the game. That was nice by Darius. And this is another guy in Darius Garland who, I think that after losing, I think what was it, 12 pounds? After losing so much weight these last season due to that jaw injury, I think he's put a legitimate amount of that weight back on, if not probably put on more weight than he had lost. I know that's another guy that's kind of kept it close to the vest in terms of how much muscle he's added, but it's visible. He does look a little bigger out there. looks a little older. I feel qualified to say that in my 30s, but I think Darius is 24. I think he's entering his age 24 season. Definitely looks a little bit older out there. Ah, that looked like it was going in. All right. All right, Lonzo. How can I be mad at that? Off screen. And this is another interesting lineup here. You got Tyson at the 3. You got Dean at the 4. Jerome, presumably, is the 2 guard. Revert back in, probably for Ty. It is good to see him back. They're right about that. All right. Really is. You can't be mad, right? His dad did not do him any favors entering the league, obviously, but one thing that we can say is that he came in and through time, through the years, he started to prove that while he hasn't been able to live up to the hype of where he was drafted, he has turned himself into a valuable rotation piece, right? And I don't know what the future holds for Alonzo. I'm hoping that he can just simply stay healthy, but he is clearly still an impactful facilitator. He can knock down the 3-point shot, something that was kind of not something that was going to be so reliable as he entered the league. Because with that funky ass shot form that he has, I did not see Lonzo turning into a quality 3-point shot maker. I just didn't see it. It's just an ugly ass shot, but he has made it work. He literally in his first season with the Lakers, he shot 30.5% on 5.7 3-point attempts per game. It was not pretty at all, folks. And throughout the years, it's literally, I know he's missed the last 2, but he has steadily become a respectable shot maker from that range. Went from 30.5% to 32.9% in year 2 to 37.5% on pretty substantial jump by year 3. And also that came on the by far the highest volume of his career. And it's no coincidence that that came along with his move to the New Orleans Pelicans. And then from that season, 8.3 3-point attempts per game, shot 37.8%. And then in his final season with Chicago before his injury, where he played just 35 games, he shot 42.3% from 3-point distance. And this is why so many people were happy when they acquired him, because he was starting to round the corner with New Orleans. And when he arrived in Chicago, you just knew that this dude was going to be an impact player. And so my greatest hope for him is that he simply just stays healthy. All right. Jaylon, what the fuck are you doing? Nachos. All right. All right. That's a dude right there that I think is going to be on a different team next year, or at some point this season. Nikola Vucevic. Drive. Drive. There you go. Get that shot up. Okay. All right. Okay, he clearly got in there, right? But good to see Karras knock that away. Oh man. What the fuck? Jeans cheese. Look at that. See, Darius, that's the shit I'm talking about right there. Just more effort on the defensive. Oh, that was a beautiful route. Oh my god, that was a beautiful pass. That was beautiful. Okay. All right, whatever. Dr. Claw, what's up, man? Lonzo definitely was out there on some Prince Rondo early on in his career. And Sumo wearing DeMar's old 11. Hey, Vooch. I can't get over that pass. That was beautiful, man. That was such a beautiful pass. Let's go. Oof. How do you finish that? How do you finish that? Let's go. Let's go, Donnie. That is one dude you never have to worry about pulling up, taking a shot. Donovan Mitchell. This is the most one of the most confident dudes that we have seen wear wine and gold ever. And I have a question for you guys. Obviously, Donovan has not had a long-term stay in Cleveland just yet, right? This is going to be his third season, if I'm not mistaken, in the wine gold, right? So, where do you currently rank Donovan Mitchell among all-time Cavaliers? Now, obviously, everybody's going to say LeBron number one, but number two is where you really can start to get into the debates because you have people who will say all the live long day that Kyrie Irving, due to his performance in the NBA Finals and his specifically in Game 7 knocking down the shot over Steph Curry, that holds a lot of weight, right? And then he has a title, obviously, but some people out there believe that Mark Price you can make a conversation or you can make an argument for him. Some people believe that Brad Doherty's up there. I mean, there's a couple of other guys, that you could probably mention, but where do you guys rank Donovan Mitchell as it stands in among all-time Cavaliers? He's been damn good. He has been damn good since he's been here. He's already given us some iconic performances. The shot blocker. Their bench could actually guard guards. Okay. Let's go. And one. Can we stop talking about cheese? Can we stop? Oh, that's awesome. No, you can't. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? That's cool though. I'm glad they did that. Oh man. Can we stop talking about the damn cheese, golly? See, this is how you know you're watching preseason basketball when they're making it a point about cheese during a basketball game. They keep paying into this guy. That is how you know that we're at the point where the basketball has not even taken top priority anymore. Jesus. All right. See, there are some things that you can probably take away from this game, but there's much more that you just cannot. This game, for all intents and purposes, there's just not much you can take away from it, man. Not much. All right. It's halftime. Ladies, a funny sequence. What you talking about, man? I feel like my stream is behind. Damn it. I hate it. Oh man. I I want to say that I have big expectations for this team this year, and I do, right? I really do believe that this team has a ceiling as the second seeded team in the East. If I was a betting man, and I am, right? I'm not gonna bullshit you guys, but if I had to put money down, I would say that that is very much a possibility for this team because after Boston, I just don't know. I really do not know who to place in that second seed. It's a toss up. Milwaukee, they're getting older. Brook Lopez, he's not going to play basketball forever. Giannis, he's starting to suffer some injuries down the stretches of seasons. You know, Damian Lillard, he's while the cohesion is starting to get a little bit better there, he's also not a spring chicken anymore. And I'm sure his game will age pretty well, but beyond them, I mean, Chris Middleton, I mean, do you really trust that heading into the postseason? I really do not see a big threat in the Milwaukee Bucks this year. And then Philly, they got their own damn problems, right? They brought Paul George to town. He's already suffered somewhat of an injury, and you know Joel Embiid, who recently just came out and said, "Oh, I don't think I'm going to play back to backs anymore," or "I don't want to play back to backs anymore." I forget what the actual quote was, but this dude can't stay injury free. He's never been able to. And he's a phenomenal player, phenomenal talent. But the point of what I'm saying is that you can never know if Joel is going to be healthy come the playoffs. You never know if Paul George is going to be available come the playoffs. And so I'm not really high on Philly now. I'm not as scared as people. I see a lot of people being a Philly as they are, right? I just can't bring myself to do it. I cannot bring myself to be afraid of them. And I know they do have some other talented players on their roster, i.e. Tyrese Maxey, right? They did bring back Kelly Oubre. There's some other talented folks on that roster, but I'm just not a huge believer that they're going to be able to stay healthy. Boston is there, right? Milwaukee's they're not gonna to me, they're not super scary. Philly can't stay super healthy. New York. New York is a sort of a wild card to me because we just have not seen what their new look is going to, in a sense, look like, right? We don't know what they're going to look like come the regular season. They have a lot of talent on that roster, but we know one thing about Tom Thibodeau is that he routinely runs his dudes into the ground, especially his starters. They, if I had to place a bet right now, I do not think. I think somebody on that in that starting five is going to be hurt this year. Somebody. I don't wish it on anybody, right? I do not wish for anybody to be hurt, but I do not believe that every single member of their rotation or every single member of their starting five enters the playoffs fully healthy. Somebody's going to get hurt. I just know it. I just know it. And so we'll have to see if they're able to go through a full season without some serious injury because they have not been able to do it. Last year, we know that they suffered a litany of injuries in the playoffs, right? they were just torn apart. And they probably overachieved a little bit once they got there after those injuries. And then the season prior to that, Julius Randle was hurt. It's just they've never really been able to stay healthy either. And in the NBA, nobody, even in sports in general, you really cannot forecast who's going to stay healthy and not. But there are some patterns that you can kind of pick up on. One pattern that we have seen with Tom Thibodeau is that he runs his guys into the ground, and so they're a wild card to me. They have enough talent to be the second seed in the East, same as Philly on paper, but I don't have enough belief in Philly that they're going to stay healthy, and New York is truly a wild card. Now, that leaves teams like Cleveland. You got Indiana out there still. Miami is always going to be somebody you have to think about just because Eric Spoelstra is just so damn good at his job and can elevate some of these guys that, probably have no business being as good as they are, but they work in that Miami Heat system, And then obviously Orlando, who Ellie Brodus down here mentions. Don't sleep on the Magic. Which they're over under for the season. I haven't looked at that. I don't know what their win total, what their win projection is. But if I would like to think that they're going to be even better this year because the lights were certainly not too bright for them last year come the playoffs. They gave the Cavaliers everything they could handle. And while I do understand that, not having Jarrett Allen available for almost half of that series, 3 games, right? While I understand that played a role, Orlando still put up a damn tough fight, and they were doing that even when Jarrett was out there. So I have no reason to believe that they're going to be worse this year. Adding Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, they didn't address the point guard position like I think many people thought they were going to do, but they certainly have gained experience getting to the playoffs and then adding some veteran leadership in NBA champion KCP. And locking some certain players down, getting Franz that big ass deal, giving Wendell Carter Jr. his contract. They're going to be good, as LA says down here, tough and scrappy. I think that's the case, right? They are certainly, they have the makeup of a team that could be a much bigger threat than initially thought. And I am not going to put it past them to be a tough out in the playoffs. I still think Cleveland's better. I still think there are some other teams in the East that are better, but I do believe that they have what it takes to win a playoff series. It really could come down to another 7-game series with whoever their next opponent is. And then, like I said, Indiana, they had a phenomenal postseason run last year that was halted, but they're going to get better too. I would have to think that they're going to get better another year, under head coach and whatnot, and having some continuity, which I think a lot of people just throw out of the window a lot for some reason. Continuity matters though. So I don't know. I think they're going to be a much better team this year. One of the teams that I have my eye on, who I think is going to be better than they were last year, believe it or not, is Detroit, right? Having JB Bickerstaff, and however you feel about JB, the one thing that you can say about him is that he can elevate teams to a next step. He may not be a championship level coach because we haven't seen that from him, but he can take a rebuilding team to that next step. I seriously believe that he is going to have them, maybe not necessarily at play-in level, but I think they're going to finish right below what it would take to make the play-in. And to me, that would be a successful season for them, right? Obviously, nobody's going to tell you that. No NBA team is going to say, "Hey, we're happy not making the playoffs, not making the play-in. We're happy to not win a championship." But I would think that would constitute as a successful season for a team that just has not been very good as of late. And so getting somebody who can take them to the next step in their rebuilds and getting them closer and closer to playoff contention, I think it's something that JB can do. I mean, and for a team that won 14 fucking games last year, that would certainly make me feel like they'll get there. I think they will. LA says JB loves the challenge of building, but when it gets there, I think he gets bored. It's just not creative, man. I think that's what it boils down to. A lot of people saw it play out over these last 2 playoff runs, right? And if you can even consider them playoff runs, because I don't, right? We did win a playoff series last year. That's great, but largely off the backs of some great individual performances. Talking about 50 plus point game from Donovan Mitchell. Jarrett Allen had some pretty big performances. Darius Garland had a pretty big game. I think it was game 4, game 5 that Darius Garland showed up and then just was kind of inconsistent the rest of the time. But as much credit as I want to give JB for like the regular season success, he was just as at fault for some of the postseason collapses that we had too. Like, I don't put all the blame on him, but there was little to no creativity in the offense. The pace was always a point of contention, and his inability to put out lineups that made sense, it just constantly came back to bite him in the ass. So I don't know, but I do think that he will elevate Detroit to another step, right? Again, I don't know what that looks like. I don't know if that is enough wins to get to the play-in. I don't know if it's right outside of it, but I do think, again, for a team that only won 14 games last year, I think getting closer to the play-in would constitute a successful season for them. Autopilot says, I think the Pacers are built for the regular season. Yeah, I mean, they did have a pretty good run during the postseason too, though, right? I can't overstate how much continuity means, and I do believe that they're going to return as a better team. Just they're pretty young. They're pretty young. Not the youngest team in the playoffs last year by any means, but I like the direction that they are heading in. It's it just goes to show how deep the Eastern Conference is. It just goes to show you how tough the East is going to be this year because we're talking about an Indiana team that could you know, very easily beat a couple of teams in a 7-game series. They are that talented. They still got Tyrese Halliburton. He hasn't gone anywhere. Miles Turner's still on the roster. Ben Mathurin is only going to get better with age. Andrew Nimhard. They have a lot of pieces over there. Obi Toppin, Pascal. This is his first full season in Cleveland. Not Cleveland. His first full season with Indiana after making that trade or after coming over via that trade. I think it's going to be good. I think it will be good. We shall see. We shall see. But guys, Otto also says high-powered offense leads to a lot of wins. Yeah, they certainly can put up a lot of points on you. We'll have to see what their defense looks like. I think they can be exploited in a couple of areas, but they can put up points with the best of them. But I think I'm gonna call it there. Not much else really that can be taken away from this game. I'm not seeing a lot here. Evan Mobley is literally 1 of 7, right? Don is 2 of 8. So I don't think there's too much else to talk about. I very much want to watch the rest of this New York Cleveland game. So I think I'm going to end things here. Thanks for joining me wherever you're streaming on YouTube or watching in the playback app. If you're not already a member of the room over here or the channel, go ahead and subscribe. You never know what you're going to miss out on. I'm going to try and do as many of these during the season as I can, but y'all know me. If you've watched the channel for any length of time, I typically go live after games and not necessarily watch during them because I want to be able to watch the game and focus a lot of my attention on it. But this is just such a dope ass way to connect with people and watch the games together and just get our general thoughts out there in live, real time. So I'm going to try and do as many of these during the regular season as I can. I can't promise, that it's going to be nearly as prevalent as the post game sessions, but I'm going to try and do some more. All right, y'all, take it easy.